Okay, so you finally pulled it off. You started your own business, and so far things are moving along very well. But wait, it is tax time, and you didn't quite figure those logistics into your business plan, now did you? Or maybe you bought a home or a condo last year. Did you make note of the tax benefits when you closed? Real talk now, you still doing your own taxes? Isn't it time to hire a professional, or are you just going to let Cousin Pookie keep preparing your returns? These are legitimate questions taxpayers must consider, and some new tax laws could even leave a little extra dough in your pocket. So grab a pen and paper. It's time to talk about these taxing matters today on Portia. Hello and welcome to the show. Now, we typically kick off the beginning of each new year with resolutions, weight loss goals, financial goals, the list goes on. But then we hit that part in the first quarter of the year. April 15th is looming. Yes, folks, it is tax time already. And here at the table with me is a tax strategist and the owner of Say Yes to Profits, Miss Octavia Conner. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, indeed. Your tax advice last year was so good and so spot on and so informative. Let's call Octavia back to the table. And you say there's a lot more. There's something new every single year, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's talk just about some of the issues that affect everyone, not just the business owners, single, married. What's new?
So some of the things that are new this year, for one, is that the tax laws have changed. So for example, child tax credit. For this year, it increased from $2,000 to $3,000. And
good.
Yes.
Yes, okay, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Right. And if you have younger kids, you actually receive an extra $600.
And younger, meaning what's the cutoff there?
Younger kids are around 10, 11,
Elementary
12.
school,
Exactly.
preschool age.
And younger. And then also, it's just a great way to possibly receive a refund.
Right. Yeah. Yes, that's indeed a plan. Let's talk about student loan debt. Everyone has been talking about who has student loan, either hoping that it gets eliminated, but it's still there for a lot of folks, right?
Yes.
What's changed there?
Well, here's the thing. This year, depending on your student loan interest, you may have more interest that will apply to your taxes. Now, the benefit, right, there's that debt, but the benefit is that it will lower your taxable income, which could also possibly result in a tax refund.
Got it. And dependent care credit. That's for folks caring for maybe parents or grandparents, right? Explain.
Yes. Dependent care credit, it has did a drastic change this year. It's actually doubled. So yes, last year, $4,000. This year, $8,000.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Noted. I see what we told you to get a pen and paper. And then earned income credit.
So earned income credit is a credit that low to moderate families receive. And so earned income credit can be a benefit because it can lower your tax burden. And then it can also result in a tax refund depending on the individual's personal tax return.
Gotcha. There's so much to cover. And this is why, I mean, you're a professional tax preparer, right? So of course you're going to say you should get it. But this is why. Because you are, and folks like you are trained to keep an eye out for these things.
Absolutely.
The rest of us aren't really paying much attention to how much these changes affect us. But this is a difference in a refund or a return.
Absolutely. There's a difference in receiving a refund or owing in taxes.
Right.
Honestly, who wants to owe? And so you need to use the tax rules and regulations to your advantage, legally and ethically.
Right. Exactly. Because that's the key. And sometimes people kind of get lured in, well, we can do this and we can do that. But it may not be the legal and ethical thing to do. And that's where people get in trouble, right?
Absolutely. And so I highly recommend that, as you mentioned, don't go to Pookie down the street because Pookie going to get you in trouble. Go to someone who has the expertise. Go to someone who goes to school for this or have went to school for this. But their goal is to help you legally and ethically pay the smallest amount possible in taxes.
Right. Let's talk about the biggest mistakes that you find yourself having to correct for, the small business owners and just the regular folks going to work every single day who don't know how to do their taxes. Biggest mistakes.
I'll start with the small business owner. First, one of the biggest mistakes is not having the correct structure. Not understanding the difference between if you should be an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, and how that is going to affect your taxes. So that's one big mistake.
And big mistake in terms of how much it ends up costing?
Absolutely. How much you will maybe have to pay, how much it will cost you. And under certain structures, you open yourself up to even more tax deductions than others. And so it's really important that you're clear on how your structure will benefit you or how it will hurt you.
And does that change from maybe not year to year, but as your business starts to grow? How do you know when it's time to maybe shift how you've organized from LLC to something else?
Now, that's a great question. My rule of thumb is that if your net profit, your bottom line number on your profit and loss statement is around $40,000 to $50,000, this is possibly the perfect time to speak with your accountant about shifting from an LLC to an S corporation. Because when you shift, if it's done correctly, you automatically save about 15.3% by making that shift.
Wow.
Yes.
And that is why it's important to have someone professional who knows how to look at this in a different way, right? I think the rest of us sort of just look at this bottom line, just trying to not owe too much or get the biggest check, but there are a whole lot of other levels in between, right?
Yes, absolutely. And this is why it's important to proactively think about your taxes and not wait to the last minute.
Right. And it's tricky because sometimes we try to remember some changes from a few years ago. Like I remember I used to be able to write off my dry cleaning, right? And then it was, no, you can't write it off unless the label from your business is on the stand. There's no label that says Portia on the dress, but I wouldn't wear it anywhere else. So how do you figure those things out?
Well,
can we write off dry cleaning again?
Well, listen, here's what I tell you to do. Take your dress and stitch your logo in the inside. You see,
that counts?
Yes.
Ding, 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 onto the bonus round.
The IRS has not stated as of yet if it has to be on the outside.
Visible, right? Because that would be kind of cheesy if I'm putting Portia on all of my outfits.
Right. Exactly.
But good advice. And you've got a whole lot more.
Yes.
That's why we brought you back. Yes. Love it. All right. So when we return, you're going to meet some women. They are entrepreneurs who are looking for ways to increase their refund or at least cut down the amount they owe to Uncle Sam. What he's looking for by April 15th. Not trying to do that if we don't have to. They've got questions, and Octavia has the answers when we return. Hey, so you like the show? Then let's connect on social media. Check us out on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok at Portia TV Show. Welcome back to the conversation, and it is a good one. We're talking taxes, that April 15th deadline to prepare your taxes. It's creeping up on us. So we had our tax expert, Octavia Conner, come back to the table, schooling us on the new tax laws. I already learned how we can save some money. Always love to have her here. And then we have two small business owners joining the conversation, Nicole Lavelle and Donetta Wells. You ladies are here with some questions of your own, but let's just talk just briefly. You both come from situations where you were working in corporate America, so to speak, and decided to branch out on your own, right? Came with great skills. Yep. Tax prep isn't one of them.
No, not at all. Yes, so I am the owner of Ellison Marketing, and I work specifically with entrepreneurs, helping them with their branding and marketing. I had all these skills, and I'm like, I need to be doing this full time. Right. And specifically, I love my female entrepreneurs, so I take time to coach them one-on-one and in a group setting.
Gotcha. And then how about you?
Same story. Just thought I had a lot of skill sets, especially around being a bankable CEO. I'm the founder of Phenomenal Hues Global Network, and we try to teach women, phenomenally hued women specifically, on how to take care of their small businesses.
Gotcha. So it's important work. And so is the business of doing taxes. So at this point, that's when you turn it over. Are either of you still doing your own taxes, or you got? Gotcha. You turn to professionals because you understand how to stay in your lane, right? Nicole said that. So that brings Octavia into the picture because you both have questions, right? Go ahead, Nicole. We'll start with you.
So, Octavia, I got some questions. When it comes to taxes, and I hear all the time, save your receipts. And I want to know, how important is it really to like save all of your receipts? Or there may be special receipts we should be saving? Or can we just rely on our bank statements and just hand that off at the end of the year?
Great question. So no, do not rely on your bank statement. No, you want to save your receipts. You want to save your receipts because if ever audited, of course, we don't want that. But if ever audited, you have proof of your purchase. You have proof that this was an actual business deduction. How else can you prove it with your bank statements? And here's what the IRS would like you to do. On your receipts, identify the who, what, when, where, why, and how.
Every single one.
Yes,
Still,
ma'am.
we're still doing that.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
And according to the IRS, they want you to save all receipts that are $75 or more. However, I've seen cases where they even ask questions about receipts that are lower than that. So I recommend you save all receipts.
So I have homework to do.
Yes.
Down to the parking.
Absolutely.
All of those things. That might be $7 or $8 that you spent, all of it.
Yes, yes,
All
yes.
right.
Because you have to show why you attended this place and
Right.
needed this parking. So yes.
God. Donetta, I know you have a couple of questions as well.
Yeah, so Octavia, as a solopreneur, you kind of touched on it before. I'm set up as an LLC right now. What would be the key to let me know it's time for a tax liability to turn to an S corp?
Well, again, that $40,000, $50,000 in net profit. And the reason you want to think about shifting to an S corp is because as an LLC, when you pay yourself as the owner, your salary is not taxed. Right? It's not a tax deduction. But if you shift to an S corp and you become an employee of the company, guess what? Your salary is a tax deduction.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Glad to know that.
I did not know.
I did
That's
not.
good.
That's
Good.
awesome.
I love it when we're learning
That's
something
awesome.
new. Nicole, we have time for the other questions you
Okay.
had.
Yes. So profit, P&L, profit and losses. I want to know, I know that it's very important for us to look at it at the end of the year. Do you have like a special secret or some kind of like plan? Is there something we need to do at the beginning of the year to make sure that when we get to the end of the year, everything is ready to go for our tax professional?
Well, I want you to look at your profit and loss statement and your balance sheet throughout the year, not just at the end of the year, because at the end of the year, everything that has happened is nothing you can do about it. But if you're proactive,
That's a good point.
right?
Yeah, you get through July, you see,
Right.
I need to shift here. I need to do something different,
Exactly.
change the strategy.
Exactly. But if you're waiting to the end of the year, any deductions or credits that you may have been able to take, it's too late. But if you're doing it on a monthly basis, right, and you're checking your progress and you're reviewing your potential tax liability for the year, you can catch things, you can prevent things, and it shifts you to being a proactive business owner instead of a reactive business owner.
Good point. Donetta, did you have another question?
I do. So, especially for solopreneurs, again, are there any tips that we should be, maybe something we should purchase in a different way that can help instantly change our bottom line or our EBITDA to make our business look more profitable just by kind of doing something different?
Well, that's a really good question. Depending on your business, you want to first make sure that you are clear on all tax write-offs, all expenses that are ordinary and necessary for your business, because those ordinary and necessary for your business will or possibly can lead to a tax deduction. In addition to that, when you think about profitability, you really have to deep dive into your revenue streams, how to price for profit. Those things will help you say yes to profits in business.
That's good. I have a question for you. And know a lot of small business owners who are like, my profit and loss statement, it's not a good looking statement, right? Still trying to get to that breaking point where you make a profit,
Yes.
but still struggling with tax liability. What is your advice to small business owners in that situation who are trying to at least close that gap and get closer to the profit part?
Well, you have to, again, go back to your business model. You have to think about your business structure. You have to identify how your company earns money and how your company spends money. When you think about your earnings, If it's done correctly, that's going to shift to your bottom line if you manage your money properly.
Right. So it may not be the product. It may not even be the service. It's just what you're doing with the dollars in between.
Exactly.
And maybe you need to make some more profits too. That's always a big part.
Yes.
Good conversation, ladies. This is really good. All right. Stand by. You got more questions? I know I do. All right. Stand by. Octavia is going to share a checklist for what new business owners should do. So this is where you keep the pen and paper handy. If you haven't gotten it already, we've got more advice coming. This is great. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Our tax tip conversation continues. We are talking to tax strategist Octavia Conner and Portia Show viewers Nicole and Donetta, talking about what these women can learn and do differently as small business owners, and really what the rest of us can learn as well, right? There's so many things that we can do. But before we go, I know you've got some tips, and I know you two may have more questions, but we actually have a question from a viewer in Louisiana. So let's take a look at her question. Okay. All right.
Hi, Portia. My name is Shantae from Benton, Louisiana, and I drive 18-wheelers. I had a quick question. What is per diem, and how does that affect your income? Thank you, and I love your show.
Thank you, Shantae. So let's talk about per diem.
Yes. So per diems are amounts that you can receive from a company that you're working for certain things. Like you can have a food per diem, a travel per diem. And so they will actually either give you money or reimburse you for expenses that you've incurred.
Okay. So, and that's why it's also important just to sort of understand the intricacies of ownership, right? These are the things that come in handy, but if not reported properly, can become an issue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because as the owner, she can actually provide per diems for anyone that's working for her as well.
And some strategies and advice that you have just for all of us in these last couple of minutes of conversation.
Well, the number one strategy would be to have an accounting system. Even if you're an individual, you can have a personal system where you keep track of all of your expenses, all of your information, your tax credits, and all of those things throughout the year, so that at the end of the year, you're not struggling, you're not stressed out.
Trying to figure out where you left that receipt, where did you put that? That can get really frustrating. And I think which leads to the procrastination, right?
Absolutely.
And then the procrastination leads to mistakes, right?
Yes.
What else would you suggest?
I will also suggest that you, in advance, meet with a tax accountant. Meet with a tax accountant before you even think about filing your taxes, because again, they can proactively guide you and tell you how you can save on taxes, or they can at least give you an outlook of what your taxes will be at the end of the year. And now you're in a great position to do things now that will reduce your tax liability.
Yeah. Ladies, I want to hear if there's something, I remember what piqued your interest, but I want to hear just something that you have learned today that is something that is an actionable step that you can take as small business owners.
Yes, I think the biggest lesson I learned was about the receipts. Making sure that I'm keeping track of everything. It was good to hear a number if it's over 75, but writing the who, what, when, like actual on the receipt. Right. That was my biggest takeaway today.
Yeah, because a lot of them just end up in an envelope. You're like, where did I put that envelope?
Right.
Yeah. Donetta, how about you?
I would say like just being proactive instead of reactive, like doing these things in advance, and how that relates to your business planning and eventually your bottom line, to be honest with you. So that was a really good lesson.
Because that's what it comes down to, right? Yes. The bottom line. And if we can, we'd like that bottom line to be something that gets deposited into our accounts as opposed to cutting a check from the account. Yes. Octavia, great advice always.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Nicole, Donetta, thanks for opening up and talking about how challenging, but not impossible it is to get this right?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ladies. We will be right back.
Hey there, Portia here. Listen, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for tuning in for your daily dose of positivity here on Portia. And I also want to welcome all of our new viewers who are tuning in on our sister stations in Chicago, Houston, and San Francisco, Oakland area. Thank you so much. We are really excited to have you here at the table.
Well, I sure learned a lot from Octavia Conner today, and I'm curious to hear if you learned something new as well. And great questions from Nicole and Donetta. Those are the kind of conversations I love to have on this show. So what would you like to see more of at the table? Drop a comment on social media or send an email to portiashow@fox.com, and I may read your feedback here on the show. And listen, if you missed something, because I know there was a lot, you can watch the full conversation again tonight on the streaming service Fox Soul. Be sure to be the reason why someone smiles.